So, hi Anisha, thank you for joining us today. And before I give over to Anisha, let me give a brief intro and a brief because she has so many accomplishments. She's only 40, but she has a lot of accomplishments under her. She is PTSTA psychology, that is, she is a provisional trainer and supervisor of transactional analysis. She is also a CTA education, that is, she is certified transactional analyst in education. She has been working and writing papers with a lot of people across the TA world. One of them that is published is with Giles Sparrow in the recent ITAA journal. She's a professional coach. She's a T-Lab facilitator. She's a assessor and a coach. She's a master practitioner of NLP. She is into NVC, which is nonviolent communication. She is a fantastic process work therapist. Now, she also conducts these groups across internationally, like US. I'm part of her US group, and it's without further ado. Okay, Anisha, I think you are the best to tell about yourself and about the program.
Thank you, Reena. And hi, everybody. There are very many names. I would have personally liked to address each one of you, but I'm just being mindful of time and saying hello and also namaste from India to each one of you. And I am super delighted to be here. And Reena, you've been very generous with your appreciation. So I don't think I have anything more to talk about myself. But I can certainly speak some more about the program that Reena is inviting me for, and what is the premise of this program. So I'll explain that in brief, friends, and then y'all can shoot me with questions if any. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Yes. I am seeing thumbs up. Thank you so much, friends. Yeah, so this work that we are doing is predominantly rooted in process work. Now, what do I mean by process work? The whole premise of this work is for this, 8 to 10 people to come in one room and create this, or rather become aware of this relational space that gets created between us. So it's not about looking at, or talking about your problems with your partner or your struggles with your work colleagues or talking about your client and bringing your case studies, if at all. But this is really about looking at what are the dynamics that are emerging in the here and now as we all sit together. We look at what are the group processes that emerge, and the whole intention of this work is to work with or rather anti-oppression. And when I say anti-oppression, I mean it at 3 levels. First is to work with the internalized oppressor, because we all have this inner critique, don't we? This voice that keeps nagging at us, telling us how we are not good enough. This voice in us that keeps picking holes in others, keeps criticizing others. So to become aware of this voice, yeah, because many a times we are acting on that voice, but we are not necessarily aware. So to be able to contain this voice of the inner critique and in a way release yourself from the clutches of its oppressive fangs, that the second level is to look at how does oppression turn out in the interpersonal space between you and me, between you and some of the group members. Now, when we look at the interpersonal domain, we start looking at the hierarchy that exists. While we all are humanitarians, I want to believe, and we all want to believe in a world where power is shared, but that's not the reality, isn't it? Power, rank, and privilege is not equally distributed. Some of us do have certain privileges, some of us don't have, and there's always this up and down when it comes to humans coming together. So it's really about slowing down and looking at what are the privileges and ranks that exist in this room. What about me becomes oppressive? What about me is sometimes oppressed. Looking at this interpersonal dynamics, developing the consciousness to be able to meet people beyond their words. Because while we may come from different parts of the world, at the end of it, I think what we really share is our humanity. Anger feels the same to me the way it feels to you. The needs that I have are not foreign to y'all, right? So if we start looking at so that's the second pillar of this work, which is nonviolent communication. That how do we develop this language to be able to navigate through difficult conversations, to be able to navigate through difficult processes that emerge when humans come together. So whether it is, a family gathering, or it is friends gathering, or it is doing group work at your office, or working with your therapy clients, we are all constantly having to work with processes, isn't it? Human processes. So we look at all of that. And the third level of oppression is the systemic level. Yeah. And what I mean by that is this is the space where we start exploring the isms that are showing up in the room. Now, whether those isms are racism, classism, casteism, sexism, sexuality. And while these are more visible differences that we may have, like my skin color, your skin color is different. The way I talk is different than yours. Our educational, socioeconomic backgrounds may be different. But there are more subtle differences between us. The way we think, the opinions that we have, our relationship with conflict, right? And unfortunately, all of us, regardless of which part of the world we are in, we've all been culturally programmed to learn that anything that is different is dangerous. Anything that is different is wrong. So in many ways, this work is about unlearning that and recognizing that different is not equal to wrong. Different is equal to different. And then therefore, how do we learn to coexist, not despite our differences, but because of our differences? And the high dream I hold is that if we learn to look at this oppressive forces within the small group, maybe each one of y'all will be able to take that awareness and that skill set and bring about changes in your world, which I believe will create ripples in society at large. And now I'm suddenly conscious that I'm talking too much. So I'm going to take a pause and just ask y'all how this is landing for y'all, and if y'all have any questions, friends.
No, just go on. No questions.
Padma, I thought you had a question, darling, but I see that you have muted yourself. So I'm confused. Do you have a question or you don't have a question? Okay. No problem, Padma. That's fine. Anybody else who has a question? What is the format for this group? By format, are you meaning the structure of this group, Christine? There will be around 8 to 10 participants in this group, and we'll be meeting bi-monthly for a duration of 2 hours, and it's a 12-week program which runs across. If you're meeting bi-monthly, then it's 6 months. And it's an experience. It's experiential learning. So what you will be learning at the it's experiential learning. So it's not necessarily a teaching program where I'm giving a PowerPoint presentation or teaching something on the board, but it's really about experiencing. It's really about slowing down and looking at what's going on for us, because the premise is that all the issues that you have outside, the dysfunctional patterns that you have outside in your life, they will get repeated in this room as well. And the only difference is that this room will give you a platform to explore it in a safe environment with people who are on the journey of working towards improving themselves and improving their communication skills. I am seeing another question. But before I go to Geetika, I just wanted to check, Christine, have I answered your question? Okay. So the question from Geetika is, what is the end objective? Multiple, Geetika. At one level is increased self-awareness. Second is also the awareness of the others, that, okay, how does human brain function? Why do people behave the way they behave? Second is to be able to develop the skills to be able to have difficult conversations. Third is to develop the skills to facilitate difficult human processes. It's also about learning to navigate anger, disappointment, and self and others. And it's about, as I said, that it's really about, the theme is to work with oppression.
There's
Geetika,
another question.
I just wanted to make sure that I'm okay. Geetika has already given a thumbs up. What activities will we cover in 6 months? So Neha, thanks for asking that question. This program, as I said, is predominantly experiential. However, it's not mumbo jumbo. It's like not based. It's based on strong theoretical grounds. So while most of our learning will be experiential and my role will be that of a facilitator, but it also has certain strong theoretical foundations that we are using. We're leaning into group dynamism. We are leaning into relational transaction analysis, and looking at the relational unconscious patterns that emerge between people in a group. We are also looking at nonviolent communication. Yeah. And third is we will be dipping into transaction analysis as well. So these are the multiple theoretical backgrounds that we will be dipping into. And it may happen that sometimes I may send you all some articles, I may send you all some short video clippings, or if something emerges in the room, in the moment, I may just teach in the moment to create more sense of the experience that we all just had. Did I answer your question, Mamit? I forgot who asked that question.
Neha.
Neha, did I answer your question, darling? Okay.
And this is Anisha. She will use words like sweetheart, darling, and she'll make us her own. There was one more question.
Yeah, I can't see.
It was about costing.
I think, Reena, you can answer that question better than me.
Yeah, okay. So the question is, please let us know the total cost. So since it's going to be 2 sessions of 2 hours each every month, the costing is going to be $130 per session. So altogether, your investment is $260 per month. Durga has a question.
Hey, hi Anisha. Good to finally meet you face to face. So there are a lot of integrative words I come across. It's like really interesting to see relational TA, nonviolent communication, as well as process work. So in this 6 months, are we going by a structure?
So the answer is yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, because I'm not going to create a structure, but I'm going to be following the structure that will naturally emerge in the group. And it may sound like, okay, what are we really doing each session? But as we go through it, there's a method to the madness that you will discover. It's, as I said before, Durga, it's experiential learning. So it's really beginning to first slow down, because all of us are, cerebral cortex junkies. We all want cognitive stuff, but the deal is, how do we slow down and come down 2 floors here? So we are beginning in the other way. So we are looking at what's really happening. We're looking at the feelings that are getting evoked in us, and then we start looking at what's happening here. Because naturally, I'm sure you've seen that, Durga, and all the others have also seen, when you enter a new group, there are some people you instantly connect to, almost as if they are magnets. And there are some people you feel repelled by. You have no idea why. Hardly they've said 1 or 2 things and you've already made a judgment about them. And when I say you, I include myself in that. I also do that, right? So what are these unconscious hierarchies and biases that we carry? So it is really about looking at that, what are those in-groups and out-groups that I'm creating? Who are the people that I exclude from my heart without even knowing them? Who are the people I'm naturally attracted to? Who is my tribe? And do I want to limit myself to just that tribe? Or do I want to expand my heart to be able to include people who are different than me? 1 minute, I'm seeing more questions. Javed, yes, it is going to be on Zoom, and the timings are, Rina, can you tell me the
6:30 Singapore time to 8:30 p.m. 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Alternate Thursdays, so second and fourth Thursday of the month.
Neha's question. Neha, I can't be enough thankful to you for asking this question, my dear. What impact it will have on you? Well, the impact that you desire to have on yourself. Because this program is very simple. The more you invest, the more risk you're going to take. And investment here is not in terms of the fees you pay, but it's really about how much are you willing to risk self-disclosure? How much are you willing to take a pause and look at parts of yourself that you don't necessarily like? So the more you're willing to risk, the more you're willing to engage with what's going on between people and processes, the more you will benefit.
Anisha, can I add on to that?
Do you need my...
It's when I started process work with Anisha last year, I hated it. And I called her up and I told her, Anisha, I'm not participating in any process work with you. And she kind of inquired what's happening. And we realized that it was my fearful child that was scared of facing conflicts. Because process work can bring a lot of conflicts in the open, and it teaches us actually how to face ourselves. And now she knows I am such a passionate process worker. I will not let go at any cost. So, yeah, thank you, Anisha. I don't know if I've answered that correctly or not.
I mean, you've shared your experience, Reena, and I think it's beautiful. I just feel so delighted and just, I guess I feel like doing this work more when I see people like you really coming in their full glory and claiming their space, and from being scared of people and processes, and most importantly, being scared of self, to becoming unabashedly yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, there are a couple of questions that I need to answer.
Okay.
Is payment per month or one-time full payment? It's per month.
Per month. Yeah.
So though I don't recommend leaving it halfway, but it's a choice that if you think you're not gaining much, of course, all of us need to have that choice. Then there's another question, is there any makeup session? I cannot promise that, or Anisha cannot promise that at the moment, because we are only going to keep ourselves to 2 sessions. Now, the most important thing is the group bonding. When you're meeting in the same group, even if I start another group, for example, I will not recommend joining the other group, because building your group dynamics, building your rapport does take time. Am I saying that, Anisha, or?
Yeah. And
because it's her program, okay?
Yeah, that's fine, Dina. I fully resonate with everything that you're saying, and I just want to add on that. One of the things with this work is that it's not like, you go to the market, you pay money, and you buy a speaker and you see it. It's not like that. This is so much of an experiential work. It's like, you start cycling and then you don't even recognize one day when you decide to learn cycling, and one day when you just start cycling, you don't even know when it becomes your second nature, right? So to get the benefit of this work, that also is a process by itself, that, layer by layer, like the way the onion has layers to it. As people, as human beings, we are complicated, isn't it? But we are a beautiful chaos. We are beautifully complicated. So how do we look at these dynamics? We look at these patterns. So that does take time, because I'm sure you'll all know this. I don't need to tell you all. When we first enter group, what do we try to do? Put our best foot forward. We're trying to impress, putting on our best behavior, because we're wanting safety, we are anxious. It's only gradually that we ease up and we get more comfortable showing who we are. And that's when the real work begins. Okay, there are a couple of questions, just a minute. How is this different from being coached on how to work with people or other training session? Arunanjali, that's again a lovely question. There is no coaching here, darling. It's about recognizing, like, as a group will come together, there might be conflicts that may arise. It's about you recognizing that the way you're engaging with conflicts, is it serving you? Is it serving the world around you, or is it not? This space provides you a platform to experiment with different behaviors. And try that out. If these behaviors are working, you can go back and try them at home. And if they don't, go back to being your old self. Who's stopping you? So there's no teaching here. I'm surely facilitating and I may teach, but that's not my predominant role. My predominant role here is that of facilitation. One minute. This is going very fast. Reena, can you please read up the questions for me, dear?
Okay. So one question that's come up is, can you share any article or videos that can give an insight into this kind of a program?
Neha, I'm afraid I can't do that, because the work that I'm trying to do with y'all, it's a mixture of 4 different philosophies. So I can give you 4 separate articles that talk about, I can tell you, I can guide you towards NVC, I can guide you towards TA, I can guide you towards T group, but there's nobody who is doing all of this combined together. So it's difficult for me to give you an article that describes this work.
And then are we planning to do any group process this evening?
Are we planning to do any? No, we're not doing that, because that's not our contract.
Yes. And then there is, it sounds like a reality show, but it is, isn't it? Because we don't know what's coming up in the here and now, what our feelings will look like.
Yeah, so yeah, this may sound like a reality show, and in many ways, for anybody who's looking at from outside may say that is what it is. But unlike a reality show, bullying is not allowed here. There are rules of engagement. You're not coming here to win. I mean, if there's anything that we really want to win, is win our own self-esteem and win the heart of others. There is no trophy that we are trying to fight each other for. So in that sense, it's a highly intense group. It may become intense. It may not be intense at the beginning, but it's a highly intense procedure, and I call this work sacred, because it gives us while it's not a therapy group, the journey by itself can be highly therapeutic.
And there's how big is each group? Each group will be limited to 8 to 10 participants. So right now I'm only targeting one group with Anisha. That's my contract with her. And it will be on first come, first serve basis. And if someone quits, then we can put them, on the waiting list can come up over there. She has wait listing on her other programs. So I know it can get full quite fast.
Just a minute, Reena, I just wanted to, Tan has asked a great question. There are no breakout rooms here. So it's a small group of 8 to 10 people, and whatever work we will do together. So there are no breakout rooms at all, because it's about group dynamics. And how do you learn about group dynamics by going in small rooms or in smaller subgroups? No, it's all out in the open. Christine, I'm really enjoying your questions, Christine. What is the mindset you want each participant to come with in order for the group to be effective? My faith is, Christine, you, and for that matter, whoever enters this group is just perfect. I don't need you all to be anything but yourself. And the more you bring yourself, the more effective this work will be. Yeah. And in the first session, I think our first session will technically get used up in contracting. So there, many of these questions, we may go more deeper into looking at what is the culture that we want to create over here, because I'm currently facilitating 11 international groups. And each group of mine is so different from the other because the group members decide what is it that we want to create over here. And my job is just to serve and facilitate whatever emerges in the here and now. Have I missed any question, Reena?
I don't think so. If any question has been missed, can you please ask again over here? The intended start date. The intended start date is 14th October, the second Thursday of the month.
Yeah, and I think I am confirming with you, we're meeting on every second and fourth Thursday. Is that correct, Reena? Yeah.
That's correct. That's correct. So we will start with a minimum of 5 people joining us, and we will take it off. So I already have 4 people who have shown their interest. So
Okay, there's another interesting question. Just a minute, Reena. Apart from helping ourselves, does it also kind of equip us to help others in our lives? Yes, my dear. That's the purpose of this program. And to my mind, this program is in a way for you to get a taste of what process work really is and how do we do this work. And if you enjoy it, I'm happy to launch a train the trainer program so that each one of y'all can be empowered to do this work in future. But for now, this is not a train the trainer program.
I'm first in the queue.
Yes, I know that, Reena. The intention of this program is for you to really get a taste of what does here and now really mean. You know, all our religious scriptures talk about we should live life in the moment, but what the hell really is this here and now? And how do we look at what's emerging in the here and now? So this is really getting a taste of this work to experience the power of what this work can do. And also for you to decide whether this work is for you, because I want to be honest with y'all in telling y'all that like not every kind of work may suit everybody. So maybe some of y'all may not like this kind of work, and that doesn't mean that you're not growth oriented or you're not learning oriented. We all have different styles and we all have different needs. So it's also for you to find for yourself that does this work really align with who you are, and is this the work that you see yourself wanting to deepen more into? So currently the groups that I'm running, which even Reena is part of, we all started as a 12-week program, and many of them have been running for like 2 years now. They just don't want to stop. They're like, no, this is fun, let's continue. So y'all will decide the future of this group. What do we want to do? It's completely your call.
And Anisha, can I answer one more thing? What Jahaber is asking, like I'm just wondering when we are talking about the helping, right? I'm in the helping profession, so how it has helped me is to understand what's happening within me in the here and now. So when I'm sitting with my client in the here and now, I've become sharper in picking up clues of what's happening with me and with my client. And my defense of not asking direct questions has gone down considerably.
Yeah, I'm glad, Reena. I think that was a very subtle way of you telling me that I didn't really answer the question. I'm sorry, Jahaber. I can get really excited about this work and go round and round in circles. To yes, elaborate on that. Over here, all of y'all are going to be my equal partners. So while I may be the designated facilitator, my role there is a observing facilitative participant. And my faith is that each one of y'all has the experience of life and has the experience of being in relationships. So yes, we are facilitating each other. The group is facilitating each other. So you will learn how to pick up processes at the intra, which is within the individual, interpersonal, which is between individuals, and the group level. So in many ways, you're learning to diagnose individual, interpersonal, and group level issues you're also learning to intervene at all the three levels. So this is in many ways experiential learning, but also vicarious learning, because you're also learning through observation that, oh, that's how Neha responds, that's how Oliver responds, and that's how Jahaber responds. And still there are so many different ways of engaging with the same situation. So that was my roundabout long answer to you, Jahaber, and I don't know if I answered you.
We have one more
Yes, thank you.
question. Any
Okay.
certificate of attendance at the end of the program?
No, Oliver, that's not what I've thought, but I think it's not an idea that I'm shut to. So I think maybe I can discuss with Reena. So certificate of attendance, I can certainly give you all the certificate of my company, or maybe do combine something with Reena's company. So as of now, that's not on my plan, but that's something that you would need for whatever reasons, for your organization to support you, or for whatever reasons. I'm happy to support you all.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
So,
Well, so I'm not, okay, there it is.
yeah, thank you. So if there's no further questions, is it a good place, Anisha, for you to do some closing statement and we close?
Now you're just throwing me off guard. I don't have any closing statement, because now like the pressure that I have to have like this really powerful statement to close the group. But yeah, well, the only thing I want to say is, if this interests you, friends, do come along. I promise you it'll be a worthwhile journey.
Thank you. So how do you express? Just let me know. I already have 4-5 interests. So I will wait for, the first 10 to fill up. So it's just first come, first to, and that's it. I'm so excited. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, friends, and lots of love. Thanks for showing up.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for taking your time out.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much for this.